Hi students, good morning. My name is Ms. Para and I'm a counselor at the Harbor College Transfer Center. Today we're going to go over how to apply to UCs for fall 2023 transfer, and we'll go ahead and get started. So to start, you're going to want to go to the internet browser of your choice and you're going to want to Google search UC application. When you do that, you're going to go ahead and click on the first result, apply.universityofcalifornia.edu, UC application. I'll also link it below in the description for you. After that, you're going to click on, if you have an account already, maybe you applied in high school, you can click sign in. If not, you can choose to create an account here. Once you create your account, you're going to put in your email address, password, right? And it'll let you move on to the next step. Make sure you agree to the terms. Since I already have an account, I'm going to go ahead and sign in for our Transfer Center's transfer application account. And then you want to make sure when you start your account that you're applying for fall quarter semester 2023. You do not want to apply for any other semester other than that if you're trying to start in the fall. The reason is sometimes they'll have winter, spring 2023 on there, things like that. You only want to click on fall if you're applying for fall. Now, each section is what you have to fill out. There's about you, campuses and majors, academic history, test scores, activities and awards, scholarships and programs, and personal insight. This application in total, I would say just to do it like sitting down in one session, should take you no more than an hour just to do these parts, right? You will need your transcripts from all colleges you've ever attended. You want to know exactly which campuses you've been to. So that includes Harbor College, for example, where our students go. And then sometimes they have sister school campuses on their transcript, right? You want to check and make sure you put every single individual campus that you've been to. And I can explain that further. So the first section is about you. And as you can see, there are all these tabs here that you need to fill out. The first one is personal information, right? In this case, Sammy Seahawk, our mascot, is applying. You want to indicate where you were born here. As you can see, it says we want to know the location of where you were officially born. If you were born in a hospital, your place of birth is the location of the hospital. Your birth location is not necessarily where your parents lived when you were born or where you grew up. So very interesting to note, and they do it for data collection purposes. Contact information, you want to make sure your address is correct here. And you want to make sure that everything is accurate, because if, for example, you put the wrong address, that's not good. We need the correct one. Now, when it comes to citizenship and residency, this section really depends on you as a student. So for my students who are Dreamers or AB 540 students, you would not put a country for citizenship. You would just put no selection. That is completely fine. That's what the UCs want our Dreamer students to do, okay? If you have an I-10 or a social security number, you can indicate so here, put it in. But if you don't, you can choose no, okay? Now, if you're not a Dreamer and you're a US citizen, you're gonna put your country as the United States, and you are gonna wanna put in your social security number. Now, if you're on an F1, J1 visa international student, you're gonna select the country of citizenship that you have. So Dreamers, put no selection. Citizens, put US. Our F1 international students, choose your country from the list here. And sometimes international students do have a social security number when they have a work permit. So you could put that there too. Are you enrolled? Let me see here. US. Okay, are you enrolled member of an American Indian or Alaska Native tribe? Just select yes or no. California residency purposes. Now, it is important for them to know the residency status of a student because they have different admission criteria for California and non-California residents. So you want to indicate, for example, if you attended and graduated from a California high school, you can choose yes here. By the time you attend UC, will you have attended a California high school for 3 or more years in grades K through 12? Yes. Now, if that happens, it just moves on to the next section for you, right? If you did not graduate from a California high school, you're going to put no here. By the time you attend UC, will you have attended a combination of California high school, adult school, community college. If you went to Harbor, for example, for 3 years, you would put yes here, right? If you didn't, you do have to indicate no. And if you are living currently in California, yes. Have you lived in California your entire life? No. So it does really go into specifics depending on the answers that you put. You just want to put the correct, truthful answer, honestly. That's what I tell my students because they really do investigate very thoroughly after the fact that you submit your application. So you want to make sure you are accurate and telling the truth. The next section after that does ask about your ethnic background. You can choose all that apply to you, gender and sexual identity. You can put anything that you would like here. They also ask about a student's home language, right? First language in the background section. But at the bottom, it'll ask you to indicate if you have been married or have children, if you have ever been in foster care or a ward of the court of the U.S., or if you have any military background. If you do have any of those, then you're considered an independent student and you're going to answer in your household information, your income. If none of these apply to you, you're going to check off none of the above apply to me. And for your household, it's going to ask for your parents' financial information. Okay, and then indicate if you're a military dependent. Now, as you can see, like I said, it's going to go into asking about your family background, who lives with you in your permanent address. Maybe it's you and your mom. You want to put what was the total income earned by your parents or legal guardians in 2021. So if you just live with your mom's income. If you live with your mom and your dad, both parents' income there. After that, it's going to ask how many individuals were supported by this income, and you'll put the number of people here. There is a little dot here. This could be siblings or even either living in the home or elsewhere, and relatives who live at this household and receive more than half of their financial support from the income above. So if grandma lives with you and grandma doesn't work, you can indicate grandma as one person. If you have, for example, a sibling, but they live with another parent, but the parent that lives with you is paying child support for that sibling, then they count as being supported by the income as well, okay? And it says in the U.S., this is the same as listing all people who are claimed as dependents in the household. Don't forget to include yourself in the total number of people. So don't forget to include yourself too. So let's say it is, now if your parent has SSI, for example, supplemental security income, then they put here 0 because SSI is not considered part of taxable income. And let's say it's you and your grandma and your mom, so 3. Okay. What is the parent's relationship to you? So the next section, parent information, you're going to indicate your parent's information here, parent 1 and parent 2. And then the last section it asks for is statement of legal residence. So in this section here, you're going to indicate what applies to you in terms of your statement of legal residence after reading this section. So you want to read carefully. It wants to know if you've been in California for at least 1 year, if you and your parents have established residency in California, you're going to stay here. If you and your parents are citizens or permanent residents of US, right? So you always want to indicate here that you want to be evaluated for California residency tuition purposes, okay? As long as you have California residency. Let's say I'm from Montana and I want to go to school in California. So I'm doing a UC application. I'm going to put no here because I know I'm from Montana. I have never lived in California. And when I'm done with school, I want to go back to Montana. So I'll just put no here because I'm from Montana. But for, I would say about 99% of my students at Harbor College, no, you live in California, you're from California, you want to stay in California. So you want to put yes here that you want to be evaluated for California residency tuition purposes. Okay. And then for the statement of legal residence, it's going to ask you, have you been in California for at least 3 years? Yes. You can also edit, let's say, for example, forgot to put that you graduated from California high school. So you want to change that and go back to the statement of legal residency if that applies to you. So it asks you a lot of different questions, right? So you want to answer them carefully and honestly. If you need help with this section, you can see a counselor at the transfer center. But we definitely want you to put everything accurately because they do go and investigate after these cases. So you're going to need to provide documentation, for example, your name on a lease, your name on, for example, a utility bill for at least 365 days, right? One parent has to have been present for the last 3 years in California, things like that. So you want to make sure that you put that carefully. And once you're done, it will show you all of your responses in each section in the review area here. The next section is the UC values. So as you can see here, there are the community principles for UC. As long as you read these and you agree with them, you can just check, yes, you acknowledge, value, and agree with these guiding principles. Honestly, if you don't agree with these principles, a UC might not even be the best campus for you because they are very, I would say, inclusive, supporting, caring environment for students, and they want everyone to feel that they are valid or like valid and valued and cared about, right? So you want to read these thoroughly and then just go ahead and choose save and continue. And then when you indicate that you plan to transfer in fall 2023, you'll be transferring, graduating from high school and enrolling in a fall, winter, spring session at a community college, right? You don't want to indicate that you're applying as a freshman, as long as you're trying to transfer. And you're going to indicate here that you're applying as a junior level transfer. You have to have at least 60 to 89 units. If you have more than 89, by the way, but you've only attended a community college, it's okay if you have like 100 or 120 sometimes, but you have to have only gone to a California community college, but at least 60 UC transferable units. If you're not sure if you have used 60 UC transferable units, please see a counselor in the transfer center. We will gladly count your transcript and count the number of UC units you have completed, okay? Because it is different from regular transferable units or just the number of units that appears on your transcript. Okay, and then you're going to want to check off which campuses that you want to apply to. In this case, our student, for example, is applying to UCLA, UC Riverside, Irvine, and San Diego. If there are other campuses you would like to apply to, you can click on them as well. Now, when it comes to majors, you can choose whichever major that you have the preparation completed for by the end of the spring. The reason is you need to meet the major specific requirements. So for example, let's say your major is computer science and you want to apply, but you have not taken a single calculus or physics class, then if you apply, you're going to have a very hard time getting into any UCs without any calculus or physics grades. So you want to make sure that the campus and major that you apply to matches what education, what courses you've completed. If you need help with that, you can see a counselor in the transfer center. In our students' case, they're earning the associate degree for transfer in psychology from Harbor College. So they're applying to psychological science at UCI and criminology, law, and society. The classes are very similar in requirements and the student has all of them. For UCLA, they have these two majors, Riverside, education, right? So you want to just go through them very carefully. If you tagged a UC campus, you want to also make sure that you log into your UC transfer admission planner. Check out your UC tab account. And you want to make sure that the major that you applied to for tag is also matching what you have on your application. Because if you applied for tag, but you did not pick the correct same major on your UC application, they have to match. Otherwise, it's not going to count and you're not going to be able to get your tag honored. So if you need help with that, go ahead and go back into your UC transfer admission planner. I'll link that down below too, so you can check and verify that your tag major and campus matches your UC application major and campus too. Okay, but when you tag a UC, you can apply to other schools too, of course, but you want to make sure that you for sure pick the same exact major from tag as your UC app. And then if you apply to UCSD, they do have college rankings. So there are many different small colleges. You can pick one based on your major, based on your interests, based on your goals as a person. Our Transfer Center actually has a little guide to help students when they're trying to rank the colleges at UCSD, which one they would like to be part of, right? Because these are like small learning communities. So I'll also link that below so that way you can use it as a reference when you rank the campuses and choose the one that you like the best. And once you're done, you can save and continue. And then when you click on review, it shows everything here. Now, when it comes to academic history, right, you make sure that you indicate every single campus that you've been to. If you tagged a UC and you have a TAP account, like I was showing here, all you have to do is put your TAP ID here and your TAP email address here, unless they're the exact same thing, then you put the checkbox, and then you can import all the information from your TAP account into your UC application to save you time, which is what I love to show my students to do. If you never did a TAP account, that's fine. You can just move on to the next section, which is last high school attendance. So for this student, they went to San Pedro High School. And now for colleges, the student went to ELAC, El Camino, Harbor College, and Trade Tech. To add a college, you simply click Add College in California. Now, let's say for this student, they know that they have to take, let's say they have to take a C++ class at Pierce College in spring. So you have to add that class. So you type in college here, and it will appear. So let's say spring. So the class starts February 2023 and it ends June 2023. And it's just one class, but you even have to add that one class. Is this your current or most recent college? No, Harbor College is my college. At Pierce, they do A, B, C, D, F. What is the college's term system? It's semester with winter. So all of the colleges, Harbor College, Trade Tech, Valley, Pierce, Mission, West, all the schools in our district are semester with winter. So let's say I'm just going to go in spring 2023, and I'm not going to earn a degree from Pierce. I'm just taking the one class there. And that is how you add a campus. So now it appears right here. So when you enter your colleges, oh, sorry, you have to make sure you click, I finished adding colleges, otherwise it won't let you move on. So as you can see, this student added their classes. They went to ELAC in summer and they took history, right? The student, let's say they went to El Camino and one semester they took Social 101 and they got an F, but later on it got academically renewed. In that case, you don't put the F there. If it says academic renewal on your transcript, then you put capital A, capital R instead of the grade here. And the way that looks, I'll go ahead and show you. Instead of putting a grade of F there, like this, you'll just put AR for academic renewal because it was academically renewed. And if you have some Fs from another school that you'd like to get academically renewed, you can see a counselor at the Harbor College Transfer Center and we can check the academic renewal rules for that campus and help you academically renew at that school. You do have to send your transcripts, let's say from Harbor College with your grades on them, to the campus where you'd like to get your coursework academically renewed. Or you can go directly to the campus that you used to attend and ask for academic renewal, but they're going to say, okay, we need your Harbor College transcripts to see what your grades are now, and we also need you to send over an official copy of your Harbor College transcript, okay? So it depends on the scenario, but we're glad to help you at Harbor with academic renewal at other schools. And then let's say, for example, the student went to El Camino and they got an F in Administration of Justice 100, Intro to American Justice, right? And they didn't repeat it at El Camino, they repeated it at Harbor. Well, in that case, you just indicate there, see AJ1, you got an A. So you don't get to mark these classes from the UC application as RP for repeat. There's no like RP option. You just have to put the old original grade. But then when you repeated it at Harbor, since it's considered the same class, it'll validate and it'll cancel out. It won't count the old F in your transfer GPA. Now, let's say in fall 2017, I'll show you another example of just adding a class, right? Let's say the student took art 201, which is drawing, and the student got, for example, let's say they were sick, right? And they had to get an excused withdrawal because they were really sick and in the hospital. If you got an EW on your transcript, then you would choose EW there. And then you would save the class. And just another example. So you want to make sure, first of all, that you have all of your transcripts on hand, because you have to enter each class line by line from the transcript into this application for every single campus. So let's say for Pierce, right, I'm taking that one spring class. I added LA Pierce College, and for my spring class, it's going to be a computer science class because I just love computers. And let's say it's going to be C++, right? So I'm going to leave that as PL. PL means planned. So I have not gotten a grade in that class, so I'm just going to mark it as planned, and then I'm going to save it. Okay. Now, let's say back in fall 2017, I also took English 28. That class is not transferable at Harbor College, but many students took it back then. So if you took English 28 and you're looking for it here, or English 100, which is also not transferable, you're not going to see it on this list. So you have to add it by hand. So you're going to click, I don't see my courses, the class. Let's say it's English 028, excuse me. Oh, sorry, department is English. Course number 028. Course title is Intro to College. Right. Let's say that that's the course title. It's a 3-unit class, and I got a grade of A. You're going to save and continue. Now, let's say the other class I took in that same semester was Math 125. And Math 125 also doesn't appear. It doesn't, right? It starts at the first transferable math, which is Math 215, and goes through that. So you're going to add another class that you don't see, and that's going to be Math 125 Intermediate Algebra. 5-unit class. Let's say I got an A in that one. Oh, not an A+. Do not put A+. We don't give pluses and minuses at Harbor College. If you went to a university, you do want to include the plus and minus if they gave you one for your grade. But for community colleges, we do not do that. So in short, I just want to summarize the college transcript entry section. So you want to make sure that you start from the very beginning of your transcript and work your way all the way down. So in this case, the student started at Harbor. So you need to even start with that speech 121 class. So you need to make sure you add the class. You put the original grade, even though it was repeated, because the UC will count it over, like they'll only count the one grade. And the GPA calculation, right? So you want to make sure you put every single class in there. You want to make sure that you don't skip over a single class, okay? You have to put them in the exact order as they appear on your transcript. So it should appear just like this. It should be a carbon copy in your application. And then as you can see, if you are taking classes, let's say in LA City College, you have to add LA City College as a campus. See, for your Harbor College transcript, it'll show you in the college section if you took a class at a sister school in this little college area here. And you have to add that class, that campus for those years into that class, right? So I can't put Math 275 in the Harbor College section. I have to add LA Southwest College as a campus or LA City College as a campus and add in the Math 275 in there. And then of course, with your classes in fall, let's say I don't think I did fall 2022 for this student. Oh, so this is another sample. The student took, I like to use like different scenarios from different transcripts, but let's say, for example, the student is in ARC 162 this fall, right? So you can add architecture. And then the class, oh, see, ARC 162 is not CSU transferable. So you have to add the class individually. So you do, I don't see my courses. It's going to be A, R, C, just how it appears on the transcript. And then 162. And then the course is Comp A, Design and Drafting. And the way it's spelled is a little unique. So you have to add it exactly how it's spelled. So Comp hyphen aid, DSGN, ampersand DRAFTI, or no I, NG. And that's a 3-unit class. And since it's fall semester, you mark it as in progress. If this class is only 8 weeks long and you already got a grade of A in it, you can add the A, but that's only if the class already finished, for example. Okay, so you have your in progress classes, your planned classes, right? Now this section, it noticed that you didn't take any classes during spring 2018, fall 2018, spring 2019, fall 2019, etc. So you need to explain why in each section. Let's say, for example, I was working full time to support my children and didn't attend any college, period. You could put something like that, for example. And then it knows that the break was for a reason. You need to do it for each one individually. If it's the exact same reason, you can just put it over and over again. If in this one, let's say spring 2020, I was ill with long COVID and needed to focus on recovering my health, for example. And it could be longer if you want, just depending on the student. Let's say fall 2018. I gave birth to my third child and used this time to recover and take care of my newborn before turning. So depending on your case scenario, right, it could be different reasons each semester. It could be the same reason each semester. But just go ahead and put them in there so that way it's all complete. They do want to know exactly like what happened. And then last but not least, with this college transcript entry section, I just wanted to add one more thing. You need to make sure you check your ed plan if you have an ed plan on file. If you don't have an ed plan on file, honestly, you shouldn't submit your application until you know for sure what classes you're taking in winter and spring, because those winter and spring classes, like I said before, they need to be added in this section. So for this sample application that we use, we have one class in spring, right? You do need to add those classes because they want to know exactly what you're taking, okay? And then moving on, we're going to go ahead and go to once you're done with the section, you're going to go to minimum requirements. So let's say we're done with the college coursework. I need to explain why for each one of these. One moment. So once you save it and continue, it will ask you, did you complete the entry-level writing requirement? You can choose yes or no. Did you complete IGETC? You can choose yes or no. That's the general education. If you're not sure, you should meet with a counselor and ask. Prior to transfer, you need to complete the 7-course pattern. If these courses are completed with grades of C or better, you fulfill the transferable college course requirement. Prior to transfer, you have completed 2 transferable English composition courses like English 101 and 102. First class is completed. English 101. let's say this is just an example, okay? Let's say completed, like English. Two, critical thinking. You want to actually look at your transcript and determine the exact wording that they use for course title as it appears there. So in this example, right, you want to look, what does it say for English 101 in this section here in title? Okay, and then college math, completed with a C or better. Math, 327, statistics. Okay, save and continue. Have you ever been on academic probation? Now, if you have ever been on academic probation, you do want to indicate so. Even if it doesn't appear on your transcript, if you know you're on academic probation, you should still put yes. And if you have not, you can put no and move on. But if you have been, let's say El Camino put you on academic probation before, they won't know because they'll check your El Camino transcript and it even shows on your El Camino transcript if you were ever on probation. So you can put that there. If you never went to a U, have you ever been on academic probation at any other school other than a UC? Yes, right, let's say El Camino College, right? Because a lot of our students used to go there. And you have to be honest about that for sure. Okay. California statewide student ID number, please enter below. So if you have your high school transcript and you know your California statewide student ID number, you can enter it there. If you don't know it, it's not required for admission, but if you do have it and you know it, then you can go ahead and enter it. Now, in the additional comments section, this is where you put anything else that you want them to know about your academic history, right? So for my Harbor College students, I'll show you exactly what to do. Now, if you have at the very bottom on the very last page of your transcript, a non-credit section, you'll notice it. It's like a basic skills class or a tutoring class. You need to add that here in the additional comments section. So for example, you can indicate here, for example, wow, and you can tell that the classes were from Harbor College. This would have been summer bridge for you, right? While attending LAHC, I completed non-transferable, non-credit courses. That were not given or paid or any units. They appear at the bottom of the non-credit section of my transcript on the very last page. The UC Application Center. UC Application Hotline asked me to enter them here. So I'll put 2019, see how it appears here, 2019 summer. 2019 summer, June 10, 2019 through 25, 2019. And then you just put it exactly how it appears on that transcript, okay? So you want to even put the words like exactly how they appear. So units, no grade. And then you could do the same thing for 2018 fall, right? So you just want to enter the entire thing all the way through. and make sure it matches exactly how it appears on your transcript to the best of your ability. They do want to know this information. So I just recommend to my students that they put it in there, just because if you don't, I don't want the UC application system to, I don't want it to affect you that you don't put it in there when they specifically told me that students should be putting it in there. So you're going to go ahead and put that. Now, let's say, for example, I had a lot of time off too, or I had poor grades in a particular course, or I had a hard time during COVID, specific information you can put here. Also experienced some hardships that caused me to pause my education, whatever they are, right? I've had students that have had serious illnesses where they needed treatments and couldn't go to school because they were, taking care of their health, or they had children, or they were incarcerated or anything, right? So you just put here your experiences. It's okay to be honest. It's okay to be vulnerable here with whatever you're comfortable sharing, but just that way you can share your experiences, so that way they can know the whole picture of what actually happened to you, right? So you can indicate that here. If you don't have a non-credit section, you can erase this, right? You don't need to put it. You can just leave that part blank. If you never got an F, if you never got a D, if you got straight A's and you've taken classes every single semester since high school, right? Then you can just put here, thank you so much for reviewing my application, right? Just something simple like that. And you just want to make sure everything's correct and accurate. I'm going through a little fast just for the sake of time. And then continue to test score. So if you have AP scores, you can enter them here. In this example, a student had AP Spanish language. If you have another AP exam, let's say you have AP English, right? So let's say in May 2020, right? I took AP English language and comp. Check your AP scores to make sure you know the exact score and you know the exact name of the test. Have you received your score yet? Let's say I got a 5, right? Now you should report scores of 3 or higher if you passed any AP test. I would put them all, honestly, just for transparency, because they're going to eventually ask for you to send your AP scores and you just want to include everything that's on there. Kind of like how you would with the transcript. If you took AP tests, but you didn't pass any tests with at least a 3 or higher, let's say you got all 2s, 1s, then you don't have to put your AP scores, only put them if you pass the test. And then also you want to make sure if you did have AP scores that you get those scores as soon as possible from your College Board account, okay? You're going to go ahead and click on save and continue. If you don't have AP scores, by the way, you can just put no here and save and continue. But I'm just going to leave the AP scores. Let me see. Go back. So yeah, I'd say my AP scores. But if you don't have AP scores, you don't have to put any. They're not required for admission. Now, 99% of my students, I don't think I've had a single student have IB exams. So if you remember taking the IB test, then you probably do have exam scores. But if you don't remember anything about IB exam, it's extremely uncommon for students to have IB scores. So if you don't remember, you could put no. English language proficiency tests are pretty much for my F1 visa students, my international students, including TOEFL, IELTS, etc. So if you have TOEFL or IELTS, you could put your score in, for example. Let's say you took, right, IELTS, right? And you put all your results in here if you're an international student. If you didn't take IELTS or TOEFL because you have been coming here, you have a high school diploma from the United States, you're not international, then you can just put no here. Okay, 99% of my students don't use this, only my international students do. And then international exams, if you have A levels, O levels, for example, you can put those here, but most of the time my students don't have international exams. It's pretty uncommon. And then activities and awards is the next section, right? So this is where you can put anything that you were involved in, ideally speaking, after high school. So if you used to, if you ever attended TransferCon with our Transfer Center, you can add TransferCon as educational preparation program, right? If you were in CCCP, our UCLA program, you can add it as an educational preparation program. If you take care of your grandma, for example, let's say you go to her house every week and clean her house and cook for her, go grocery shopping for her, things like that, you can add that. If you ever got the dean's list, it's on your transcript. You can add that. I'll show you if you ever had experience, for example, working, let's say I worked at Vaughn's. You can put, please just briefly describe the company or organization you worked. I worked at Vaughn in San Pedro, which is a grocery store. And what was your title? Let's say I was a courtesy clerk. Maybe I had to bag groceries, great customers, assist customers with finding products, etc. Right? Put in everything that you did. Let's say I worked after 12th grade. Let's say I've been working at Vaughn since 10th grade, right? Or let's just say 12th grade for the convenience. During the school year, I worked 20 hours per week. In summer, let's say I worked 40 hours per week. After 12th grade, I worked there for 2 more years while I went to Harvard College. 2 years, let's say it's 2 years exactly right now, right? 2 years, 0 months. During the school year, I worked 20 hours per week. During summer, I worked 40 hours per week. Do you still work at this job? You put yes there. Start date, let's say January 2000, let's say 19. Okay, or 2020. Okay. So you can add everything in there. Oh, it didn't save. And then see, it adds more and more. Now, let's say, for example, you are in EOPS. You can add on their educational prep program. Let's look for it on here. So it has a lot of different educational prep programs. EOPS is not on here for some reason. That's a little unusual. It's normally on there. So you can put other, you could put EOPS there. Describe what you did in EOPS. You were in it after 12th grade. Let's say you went to EOPS for 2 years while you went to Harvard College. Let's say you put in the hours per week. Let's say you go to the computer lab in EOPS every week for maybe an hour to do homework and stuff. And then there's 16 weeks in a semester. So 16 times 2 is 32. Right. And then you can just put, I use the computer lab. I went with my counselor for appointments. Anything that you did in EOPS, right? You want to put that in there and then save it. I'll put attended OPS workshops, counseling, appointments, and use computer lab to power me as a student to continue my college journey as a first generation student, right? Let's say I was the first in my family to go to college. I needed a computer lab because I didn't have a computer at home. The counselors there are super sweet and helpful, right? You want to put in everything that you did in the program. I just kept it short for the purpose of this video, but the more details you can have, the better. So maybe you did Harbor Advantage. You can add Harbor Advantage. I would say add as many as you can. It gives you the opportunity to add 20 activities. Add everything. If you went to tutoring in the math lab, whatever it is, you want to put it in there so they know that you are really using the resources at Harbor College. Even if you did like Harbor Advantage, Harbor College Promise, you could put those in there, right? So be really thorough. If you need help, you're not really sure what to put, you can see a counselor at the Transfer Center and we can help you as well. And I'll go ahead and link our Transfer Center Zoom lobby in the description if you need help with your application too. And then when you click review, it just shows everything that you put in there. Okay. And then the next section is scholarships and programs. So this actually asks you what scholarships you would like to apply for. It matches them to you. Okay. So affiliation with group, program, or organization. Let me see. So you want to read through these thoroughly. And if anything applies to you, you want to check the boxes off, right? Let's say you have, for example, any of these, you want to make sure you add them, right? So let's say I'm a mom and I have young children, which yes, I do. So I would put that there. If I was raised by a single mom, single parent, right? You could put both of those. If you were raised by a single dad, you could put just raised by a single parent, right? Student who has a relative directly or indirectly connected to the beauty industry. Let's say my mom does hair, I can check this box. And let's say if I'm interested, just check off any also career plans that you're interested in. If you want to work in education, health and human services, right? Any of these, go ahead and check the boxes, okay? Maybe I want to be an English teacher, teacher in general, elementary English teacher, right? Whatever it is, you can check off your ethnicity, national origin, or religion here too. So check off everything that applies for you. Let's say first generation immigrant from Latin America, first generation American, right? Anything here that matches your experiences, immigrant to USA who left country of origin under adverse circumstances, right? For my dreamers, if this is you, check it off, okay? Immigrant to the United States, if this is you, check it off, please. Anything really. So you want to make sure that you really read over these because think of these as all dollar signs, right? Anything that applies to you, this could be money in your pocket to help you pay for school with these scholarships that they have, okay? So read through them, check them off. If you're from Southeast LA, put it on there, anything, right? Look very carefully, okay? And then same thing with activities and work experience. If you're interested in, for example, gay rights or entrepreneurial groups, or if you're going to be working while you're in school, working part-time, right? You can check off as many of these as relates to you, okay? If you're in extracurricular activities, EOPS, or like any type of club. So you just go through everything. And the one that I do want you to check off carefully is transfer students, right? You want to check these, every single one, of course. This transfer one, though, everybody should put community college transfer conditions demonstrate exceptional academic achievement, right? This is pretty much all of my students. This one is also all of my students. Students transfer from a community college who show academic promise and commitment to obtaining a baccalaureate means bachelor's degree. So you should be checking off all of these. If you are like, let's say I'm 30 and I was off for 5 years from school, I should check that one off. Mature person returning to school after at least 5 years. Let's say I'm, of mature age, right? So you want to make sure that you go through these, check them off. Sorry, this I just put like random. But if you want to be an EOP, that's the next section, right? Support programs, especially if you were an EOPS at Harbor, you should be indicating that you want to apply for EOP here. So you're going to indicate that you're interested to check the box, right? And then why are you interested in EOP here? You should very, very thoroughly put that, you did EOPS at Harbor College. You would really appreciate being able to participate in EOP at a UC, which is the university version of EOPS, and explain why. You can explain that the book grant would really help you. You relied on it to help support you through school here at Harbor. You can share if you have, food insecurity, housing insecurity, if you've ever been unhoused, if you've ever experienced domestic violence and you are like, you need the support, anything that applies to you, you really want to put everything on there, okay? And then when you go to the review section, it will show you all of your responses on there, okay? And then the next one is personal insight. So these are your essay questions, right? There are 4 essay questions. You need to go over them very carefully, answer them very carefully, and do not just type a couple of sentences and hit submit, okay? It says here they should be at least 250 to 350 words. So you want to put some very careful, detail-oriented responses in here. Don't just put anything in generic. If you see the question, this is the one everyone has to answer, right? The required question, you have to click answer and answer it, okay? If you forget to answer this one, that's not good. Everybody has to answer it, okay? And then you choose 3 bonuses. Now, all of these questions are equal in value, but you really want to make sure that after they read these responses, they really see you. They can understand or get a better idea of you outside of the transcript. Now, I do have an entire video breaking down every single one of these questions, brainstorming ideas for them. It's like pretty detailed. I'll link it below in the description too, so you can watch that one, because these questions each deserve like their own attention and time. Make sure a counselor, for example, at the transfer center reviews these personal insight questions with you before you turn them in, because it's really important that you do a very thorough job and give strong responses. And then in the additional comment section, if there's anything else you want them to know about you, this is your chance. And it's only where you answer information that was not included in the application, okay? If, let's say, for example, there was some kind of point that you couldn't make in any other section because you felt like it wasn't the right place to do so, you can put so here. Maybe, for example, let's say something recent really just happened, like I just wanted, like you can put, for example, I just wanted to say that I just recently had this experience occur for maybe it was a job loss. Maybe you're really sick with COVID right now and trying to work on your application. Maybe you lost your internet and it was, maybe you don't have like internet at home right now. And so, you had to come to campus and work on this application every single day. And it was a lot of work and time and energy that you put into this application. And you really appreciate them reviewing it for you, right? Like you can talk about your hardships here, just working on the application too. If you're the first in your family to go to college and you didn't have anyone to help you, so like you really relied on the transfer center and stuff, you could talk about that. Like, I working on this application, this is, I'm the first in my family to even turn in a university application. And this really means a lot for me. Thank you for reviewing my application. I had a lot of help at my college from the staff there, like whatever you want to put, right? But just to show that this isn't just like some easy little couple minute thing for you. This took a lot of time and energy for you. Go ahead and put that in here too, right? And you could just put, thank you so much for reviewing my application. But if you had something else like really severe, like you're just like going through just recently and you're like living through it, like at this moment, you could put that here too, like that you were like going through something while working on this application, whatever it is. And then when you click review, it will show you all of these here. You can check them all, read through them. And then when it's time to submit, you can click review and submit, start submission, and it will let you submit your application, okay? And then once you're done with your application, you do want to make sure that you take a screenshot of your confirmation. Ideally, I recommend that you go ahead and make sure you see a counselor at the transfer center so we can review it with you before you submit it, because once you hit submit, we can't help you make any changes. So once you feel like everything's done, come back and see us so we can help you. If you get stuck somewhere and you just need to pause the application and come and see us, that's fine too. Like you can just do as much as you can. And when you feel stuck, just come and see us so we can help you. I'll put our hours down in the description. And then I'll also just remind you that the application's due November 30th. So make sure that you turn it in before the deadline. Thank you so much and have a great day. See you soon. Bye.